Little Italy, New York. The smell of fresh bread and imported cheese fills Mulberry Street. Vito Andolini works at Abbandando's grocery store, 16 years old, orphan from Sicily, no family, no money, no future. But he has one thing, a friend. Genco Abbandando, the owner's son, same age as Vito, dark eyes full of dreams, quick smile that makes customers trust him. They stack crates together, sweep floors together, count inventory together. After work, they sit on fire escape, share cigarettes, watch the neighborhood below. Genco talks about the future, about building something, about becoming somebody in this new country. Vito listens, says little, but remembers everything. When Don Fanucci forces Vito out of the grocery job, Genco doesn't abandon him. He brings food to Vito's apartment, hides it from his father, risks everything for friendship. "You'll find something better," Genco tells him. "You're smarter than anyone in this neighborhood. I see it. Nobody else sees it. Nobody else believes in the quiet Sicilian orphan with nothing to his name. But Genco does." Years later, when Vito becomes the most powerful man in New York, he will remember this. The friend who brought him bread when he had nothing. The friend who believed before anyone else. Genco Abbandando. First believer. First partner. First friend. What Genco doesn't know in 1917, this friendship will last 30 years, will build an empire, will make both men rich beyond imagination. But it will also end in a hospital room, with Genco begging for something even Vito Corleone cannot give. More time. 3 years after they stacked crates together, everything has changed. Don Fanucci is dead, shot during the Feast of San Rocco. The neighborhood whispers about who did it, but nobody knows for certain, except Genco Abbandando. He sits across from Vito in a small apartment on Mott Street. Vito's wife Carmela brings them coffee. Their infant son Santino sleeps in the next room. Genco studies his friend. The quiet grocery clerk is gone. Something harder has taken his place. Something more dangerous. "You need a business," Genco says. "A real one. Something the police can point to when they ask how you make money." Vito nods, says nothing, waits. "My father's olive oil importing. It's failing. He doesn't understand American business, but I do." Genco leans forward, eyes bright with possibility. "We buy him out, rebuild it, make it legitimate front for everything else." "Everything else?" "Whatever you're planning, Vito, whatever you're building." Genco's voice drops. "I know you didn't just get lucky with Fanucci. I know there's more coming, and I want to be part of it." Vito considers this. His oldest friend, his only friend, the one person who saw something in him when he had nothing. "It will be dangerous," Vito says finally. "The life I'm building, people will try to stop us. Some will not survive." "I know. You could stay clean, keep the grocery, marry a nice girl, live quiet life." "I could." Genco smiles, the same smile from fire escape conversations years ago. "But quiet life is not for men like us. We came to America to become something, not to hide." Vito extends his hand. Genco takes it. Partnership sealed, empire begun. Within 6 months, Genco Pura Olive Oil Company opens on 11th Avenue, small warehouse, 3 employees, importing oil from Sicily. But the real business happens in the back office. Vito handles certain matters, problems that require persuasion, competitors who need convincing, arrangements that cannot be written down. Genco handles everything else. He meets with bankers, secures loans, negotiates terms. His English is perfect, his smile is warm, his handshake is firm. Nobody suspects the olive oil importer is building something far larger than import business. Politicians come to Genco's office. They leave with envelopes. In return, certain licenses get approved, certain inspections get postponed, certain problems disappear. Union leaders sit across from Genco. They drink his wine, smoke his cigars, agree to favorable terms. Workers at the docks unload Corleone shipments first. Always first. Genco becomes the face, the legitimate front. the respectable businessman that banks and politicians can shake hands with publicly. Vito becomes the power, the shadow, the force that makes everything work but never appears in newspapers or photographs. Perfect partnership, light and dark, public and private. Together, they are unstoppable. By 1925, Genco Pura olive oil employs 40 men. Real business now, real profits, real reputation. But beneath the surface, the Corleone organization grows faster. Gambling operations across 3 boroughs, protection arrangements with 200 businesses, political connections reaching city council and beyond, and at the center of every decision, 2 men who met stacking crates at a grocery store. "We need to expand the union relationships," Genco advises during their weekly meeting. "Always on Sundays, always after church, always just the 2 of them." Which unions? Teamsters, longshoremen, garment workers. Genco spreads papers across the desk. Numbers, names, opportunities. Control the unions, control the labor, control the labor, control the city. Vito studies the papers, asks questions, listens to Genco's answers. This is their rhythm. Genco analyzes. Vito decides. Together they move forward. By 1930, they are among the most powerful men in New York. Not the most famous, never famous, but powerful in ways that newspapers cannot measure. Judges call Genco when they need campaign contributions. He delivers and remembers. Police captains visit the olive oil warehouse when they need certain favors. Genco arranges and remembers. Congressmen attend parties at Genco's Long Island home. They eat his food, drink his wine, make promises. Genco smiles and remembers. Every favor tracked, every debt recorded, every relationship cultivated for future use. This is Genco's genius. Not violence, not intimidation, connection, trust. The appearance of friendship that creates obligation. Vito watches his friend work, marvels at the skill, the patience, the ability to make powerful men feel they are doing Genco a favor when actually they are becoming trapped in web of mutual debt. "You should have been a diplomat," Vito tells him one evening. They sit in the garden of the new compound, Long Island. The empire has grown beyond city apartments. "I am a diplomat," Genco laughs, "just for different kind of country." The years pass. 1935, 1940, 1943. Sons grow up. Santino, Fredo, Michael, Connie. Tom Hagen joins the family. Clemenza and Tessio build their own crews. But Genco remains constant. First advisor, first friend. The consigliere before consigliere had a title. Every major decision goes through Genco Abbandando. Should they expand into Nevada? Genco analyzes, advises caution, wait for right moment. Should they work with Tartaglia family? Genco investigates, reports concerns, recommends distance. Should they enter narcotics trade? Genco studies the risks, calculates the dangers, counsels against. Vito listens, not always agrees, but always listens. Because Genco earned that right, on fire escapes and grocery floors, through decades of loyalty, through 30 years of partnership. By 1945, the Corleone family controls the largest criminal organization in New York. Legitimate businesses worth millions, political connections reaching Washington, respect from every family in the country. Genco Abbandando built half of it, maybe more. The quiet son of a grocery owner became architect of an empire. But empires cannot protect against everything. And in early 1945, Genco visits a doctor about persistent cough, about weight loss, about pain that will not fade. The diagnosis comes back. Cancer, advanced, terminal. The man who built the Corleone empire with patience and connection and decades of careful work. Now facing the one enemy that patience cannot defeat, the one enemy that connections cannot influence, the one enemy that even Vito Corleone cannot make disappear. What happens next will test the limits of friendship, the limits of power, the limits of what it means to be Godfather. Because Genco Abbandando is dying, and there is nothing either of them can do to stop it. March 1945. A doctor's office on Park Avenue, white walls, sterile smell, cold examination table. Genco Abbandando sits across from Dr. Marcus Werner, the best specialist in New York. Vito made certain of that. Dr. Werner holds X-ray films against the light. His face reveals nothing, but his silence speaks volumes. "How long?" Genco asks, voice steady, businessman negotiating terms. 6 months? Perhaps a year with treatment? Treatment that will work? Long pause. Treatment that will give you more time, not cure. Genco nods slowly. 52 years old, 3 decades of building, and now this. He drives home to Long Island, past the olive oil warehouse that bears his name, past the neighborhoods he helped control, past the life he helped create. Carmela Corleone is waiting when he arrives. Vito called ahead. Of course he did. Vito knows everything. She leads Genco to the garden, where Vito sits alone, waiting for his oldest friend. No words at first. Just 2 men who have known each other 30 years, who built everything together, who now face the one enemy they cannot defeat. "Tell me," Vito says finally. "Cancer, stomach, spreading." Genco sits beside him, looks at the tomato plants, the afternoon sun, the compound walls that represent everything they created. Months? Maybe a year? Vito's face remains still, but his hands clench, knuckles white. "We will find other doctors, specialists, whatever it costs." Vito. "There are treatments in Europe, Switzerland. We can—" Vito. Genco places hand on his friend's arm. "I spoke with 3 specialists already. The diagnosis is the same. There is no escaping this." Silence stretches between them. 30 years of partnership, thousands of decisions made together, and now this conversation that neither knows how to have. "What do you need?" Vito asks, voice thick, fighting for control. "Time with my family, my children." Genco pauses. "And time with you, my friend." From that day forward, Vito visits every morning, not for business, not for advice, not for strategy sessions that built an empire, just to sit, to talk, to remember. They speak of Little Italy, of stacking crates at the grocery store, of fire escape dreams and cigarettes shared between shifts. They laugh about Fanucci, about the old neighborhood, about the young men they used to be before power and responsibility aged them. Sometimes they say nothing at all, just sit in comfortable silence that only 30 years of friendship allows. The empire continues without pause. Clemenza manages operations. Tessio handles Brooklyn. Tom Hagen takes over more of the legitimate business negotiations. But every morning, from 7 until 9, Vito Corleone belongs to Genco Abbandando. April passes. Genco loses weight. His suits hang loose. His face grows gaunt. May arrives. Walking becomes difficult. A wheelchair appears. Genco hates it, uses it anyway. June brings worse news. The cancer spreads faster than expected. 6 months becomes 3 months, maybe less. Genco watches from his wheelchair as workers prepare the compound for Connie's wedding. Tents going up, tables arranged, flowers delivered by the truckload. The biggest celebration in Corleone family history. August 1945. Hundreds of guests expected. Politicians, businessmen, family from across the country. Genco knows he will not attend. "You should postpone," he tells Vito during a morning visit. "Wait until after." "No." Vito shakes his head firmly. "Connie has waited long enough. The wedding happens in August. I won't be there. You will be there in spirit, in everything we built, in the family that exists because of your work." Genco smiles weakly. Even now, Vito finds the right words. The words that make impossible situations bearable. "Who will be your consigliere?" Genco asks. The question that haunts him. The role he held for 30 years. "Tom Hagen, he's ready." He's not Sicilian. No, but he's family, and he learned from you. This is true. Genco spent years teaching Tom the connections, the relationships, the delicate art of being the face that shakes hands while the family conducts other business. He's good, Genco admits, smart, loyal, careful. But he's not you. No one will be me. Genco laughs softly, then coughs, the cough that never stops now. Just as no one will be you when your time comes. July 1945. Genco enters the hospital. He will not leave. The room is private, largest in the building. Vito arranged it. Fresh flowers every day, best nurses on staff. Every comfort money can provide. But money cannot provide what Genco needs most. More time. He lies in bed and watches summer light move across the ceiling. Thinks about the life he lived, the choices he made, the empire he helped build. No regrets. Not really. He came to America with nothing, built something magnificent, loved and was loved, made his mark on the world. But he wanted more years, more mornings in the garden, more conversations with his oldest friend, more time to watch his children grow. The cancer does not care what he wants. Vito comes every day now, sometimes twice. The wedding preparations continue at the compound, but Vito always finds time for Genco. They talk less now. Genco's strength fades. Words become difficult. But presence matters more than words. Vito sits beside the bed, holds Genco's hand, watches his friend disappear piece by piece, the most powerful man in New York, helpless against biology, against time, against the one enemy that accepts no negotiation. Late July. Genco drifts in and out of consciousness. The doctors speak of days now, not weeks. The wedding is scheduled for August, days away. Genco knows he must hold on, must see Vito one more time, must say the words that need saying before the end, because 30 years of friendship deserves a proper goodbye, even if that goodbye is the hardest thing either of them will ever do. Outside the hospital window, summer continues. Life continues. The world moves forward without pause. But inside room 412, time is running out. For Genco Abbandando, for the friendship that built an empire, for the last conversation between two men who changed New York together. And neither of them is ready for what comes next. August 1945. The Corleone compound, Long Island. The most beautiful day of the year. Sun bright, sky cloudless. Perfect weather for a wedding. Hundreds of guests fill the gardens, politicians in expensive suits, businessmen with their wives, soldiers home from the war, family from across the country. Connie Corleone marries Carlo Rizzi today, the Don's only daughter, the princess of the family. Musicians play, children run between tables, laughter fills the air, wine flows like water. Inside the main house, Vito Corleone sits in his office, granting favors, hearing requests, doing business even on his daughter's wedding day. The tradition demands it. No Sicilian can refuse a request on the day of his daughter's wedding. But Vito's mind is not on business. 3 miles away, in a hospital room, Genco Abbandando lies dying. The doctors called this morning. Not long now. Hours, perhaps, maybe less. Vito continues the meetings, shakes hands, makes promises, plays the role of Godfather while his heart breaks slowly. Tom Hagen enters between petitioners, face grave. The hospital called again. Genco is asking for you. I know. He may not last until tonight. I know. Tom hesitates. 30 years of watching Vito and Genco together, knowing what this friendship means, knowing what this loss will cost. The wedding can continue without you. Sonny can handle things here. Vito looks through the window, his daughter dancing, his grandchildren playing, his empire celebrating, and his best friend dying alone in a hospital bed. No choice at all. Bring the car around. Tell Carmela I will return before the cake. 20 minutes later, Vito walks through hospital corridors. Nurses step aside. Doctors nod respectfully. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows why he is here. Room 412. End of the hallway. Private wing. Vito pauses outside the door, gathers himself, prepares for what waits inside. He has faced enemies without flinching, made decisions that ended lives without hesitation, built an empire through will and strength and unshakable resolve. But this is different. This is saying goodbye to the only true friend he has ever had. He opens the door. The room is dim, curtains drawn against the August sun. Medical equipment hums softly. The smell of antiseptic and something else, something final. Genco lies in the bed, skeleton wrapped in skin. The strong man who built half an empire reduced to this. But his eyes open when Vito enters. And for a moment, something of the old Genco appears. "You came." "Of course I came." Vito pulls a chair beside the bed, sits close, takes Genco's hand, bones and paper-thin skin. "Did you think I would let you be alone?" "The wedding, Connie will dance without me for an hour. She understands." Genco's eyes fill with tears. Weakness he would never have shown in the old days. But the old days are gone. "I wanted to be there, to see her in the dress, to dance one dance." "I know." 30 years, Vito. 30 years we built together, and I cannot even attend your daughter's wedding." "You are here, in everything we celebrate today, in the family that exists because of your work, in the empire that bears your name. Genco Pura Olive Oil, the company that started it all, the legitimate face of everything they created, his name, living on, even when he cannot." They sit in silence, two old friends, one at the end of his journey, one who must continue alone. Outside, the world continues. Cars pass, birds sing, life moves forward. Inside room 412, time stretches and compresses. Moments lasting hours, hours feeling like moments. Genco drifts, consciousness fading, then returning, each return weaker than before. "Do you remember the grocery store?" he asks suddenly, voice barely a whisper. "I remember everything. You were so quiet, never talked, never complained, just worked." Genco smiles weakly. "I knew you were different, knew you would become something. You helped me become it. We helped each other." This is true, the partnership that built everything, light and shadow, public and private. Genco's connections and Vito's power. Neither could have succeeded alone. "I have one regret," Genco says. Vito leans closer. "Tell me. I should have told you more often what your friendship meant, how much I—" He coughs, struggles, continues. "How much I loved you like a brother." Vito's eyes glisten. The Godfather who never shows weakness, never reveals emotion, now fighting tears in a hospital room. "You did not need to say it, I always knew. But I should have said it anyway. Words matter, even between men like us." Vito nods, understanding, regretting his own silences over the years. "Then I will say it now," Vito replies. "You are my brother, not by blood, by choice, by 30 years of loyalty and trust, by everything we built together. You are my brother, Genco, and I will miss you every day until we meet again." Genco closes his eyes, tears streaming down hollow cheeks. That is enough. That is everything. They remain together, hand in hand. The afternoon sun shifts across the ceiling. Time passes, measured in breaths that grow slower, weaker. A nurse enters, checks vitals, says nothing, leaves quietly. The wedding continues 3 miles away, dancing, celebrating. The family unaware that its architect is fading. Vito does not move, does not leave. This vigil is more important than any celebration. "Godfather," Genco's voice changes, smaller, frightened, the voice of a child facing the dark. Vito squeezes his hand. "I am here. Godfather, stay with me." I will stay. I am so afraid." The words cut through Vito like nothing ever has. His strongest ally, his wisest advisor, his oldest friend, reduced to fear in a hospital bed. And Vito cannot save him, cannot negotiate with death, cannot make an offer it cannot refuse, cannot use power or influence or money to change what is coming. For the first time in 30 years, Vito Corleone is completely helpless. He holds Genco's hand tighter, leans close, speaks softly. "Do not be afraid. I am here. I will not leave you." Genco's breathing slows, eyes flutter closed, then open again. One more thing to say, one more plea from a dying man. "Godfather, can you save me?" The question hangs in the air, the question that has no answer, the question that will haunt Vito Corleone for the rest of his life. "Godfather, can you save me?" The words echo in the hospital room, bouncing off white walls, settling into Vito's chest like stones. Genco's eyes are open now, fully present, fully aware, looking at Vito with desperate hope. "Can you talk to them, the way you talk to others? Can you make them stop?" Vito understands. Genco is not asking about doctors, not asking about treatments. He is asking Vito to negotiate with death itself, the way Vito negotiates with judges, with politicians, with enemies who stand in his way. Make an offer death cannot refuse. Vito opens his mouth, closes it. For the first time in 30 years, words fail him. What can he say? He has made senators change votes with a phone call, made police captains look the other way with an envelope, made powerful men kneel with nothing more than his reputation. But death does not take phone calls, does not accept envelopes, does not kneel before reputation. Death is the one door Vito Corleone cannot open. "Genco, you can do anything." Genco's voice carries strange strength, the strength of desperation. "Everyone says so. Vito Corleone can do anything. Please, please try." Vito's hand trembles, the hand that has signed death warrants without shaking, the hand that built an empire from nothing, now trembling in a hospital room. "I cannot." 2 words, barely whispered, the hardest words Vito has ever spoken. Genco's face crumbles, hope draining away, reality settling in. "I know." Tears stream down his hollow cheeks. "I know you cannot. I wanted you to say you would try, even if it was a lie. I do not lie to you, never have, never will. I know, that is why I love you." The room grows quieter, even the medical equipment seems to soften, as if the machines understand what is happening. Genco's breathing changes, slower now, deeper, the body beginning its final surrender. "Tell me about the old days," Genco whispers. "One more time." Vito leans closer, voice soft, steady. "The grocery store, Mulberry Street. You were stacking olive oil cans when I first saw you. You dropped 3 of them, made terrible mess. Your father was angry." "My father was always angry." Genco almost smiles. "But you cleaned it up, never complained, just cleaned and kept working. You helped me. You were new, scared, did not speak English well." Genco's eyes drift to the ceiling, seeing something far away. "But I saw something in you, even then." "What did you see?" "Strength, patience, the kind of man who builds things instead of destroying them." Pause, labored breath. "I was right. Look what you built. What we built, together. Together." Genco repeats the word like a prayer. "Yes, together." Silence settles between them. Comfortable, familiar. The silence of 2 men who have said everything important over 30 years and now need no words. Minutes pass, or hours. Time loses meaning in this room. Genco's eyes close, open, close again. Each breath becomes a small victory, each heartbeat a tiny triumph against the inevitable. Vito does not move, does not release his friend's hand, does not look away. This is all he can offer now. Presence, witness, companionship on the final journey. The great Godfather reduced to this simple act, sitting, holding, waiting. Outside the window, the sun begins to set. August evening turning golden. The wedding celebrations continuing 3 miles away. Connie dancing with her new husband, guests laughing, music playing, life celebrating itself. And here, in room 412, life ending. Godfather. Genco's voice is barely audible now, a breath shaped into words. Vito leans closer still, ear almost touching Genco's lips. Stay with me. I am here. Do not leave me alone. I will never leave you. Promise. I promise. Genco's hand squeezes weakly. Final gesture of connection. Final proof that he is still here, still present, still fighting. I was happy, Genco whispers. My life, my family, our work. I was happy. You made many people happy, made many lives better. Did I? Sometimes I wondered. You did, I know, I saw it. Genco's breathing grows shallower, gaps between breaths lengthening. Tell my children. Tell them their father loved them, more than anything. I will tell them. And tell them the grocery store story, how we met, how we became brothers. Brothers. The word escapes on a breath. Yes. More silence, longer now, the gaps between sounds stretching into small eternities. Vito watches his friend's face, memorizing every line, every shadow, knowing he will never see this face again after tonight. The medical equipment chirps softly, steady rhythm beginning to falter. A nurse appears at the door, looks in, understands, leaves without speaking. Vito. Not Godfather this time, just the name from 30 years ago, from grocery stores and fire escapes, from before power and empire and everything that came after. I am here, Genco. Thank you. For what? For staying. For everything. Genco's eyes open one final time, clear, present, seeing Vito truly. The olive oil company, keep my name on it, so people remember. Forever, I promise. And visit my grave, sometimes, when you can. Every week, I promise. Good. Genco exhales slowly. That is good. His hand relaxes in Vito's grip. Eyes drift closed. Breathing becomes barely perceptible. Vito leans close, whispers in his friend's ear. Go in peace, my brother. Go without fear. I will watch over your family. I will honor your memory. I will never forget what we built together. One more breath, shallow, soft, then nothing. The machines change their rhythm, alarms that no one rushes to answer. Everyone knows, everyone understands. Genco Abbandando is gone. Vito remains motionless, still holding the hand that no longer grips back, still watching the face that no longer sees. The most powerful man in New York sits alone in a hospital room, tears streaming silently down his face. He could not save his friend, could not negotiate, could not make offers or threats or promises that would change the outcome. For 30 years, Vito Corleone believed he could do anything. Tonight, he learned the truth. Some doors cannot be opened. Some enemies cannot be defeated. Some losses cannot be prevented. The Godfather who made men kneel now kneels himself, before the one power greater than any empire, before death, and there is nothing he can do but weep. Vito sits with the body for 1 hour, does not call the nurses, does not alert the doctors, just sits, holding the hand that built half an empire, memorizing the face that will never smile again, saying goodbye in the only way he knows how. Silence. Finally, he stands, releases Genco's hand gently, arranges it across his chest. A gesture of respect, a final act of care. He walks to the window, looks out at the evening sky. August sunset, painting Long Island gold and orange. 3 miles away, his daughter's wedding continues. Music and laughter and celebration. Life continuing without pause, as it must, as it always does. Vito straightens his tie, wipes his face with a handkerchief. composes himself with the discipline of 30 years in power. When he leaves room 412, no trace of tears remains. The Godfather has returned, the grieving friend locked away inside where no one can see. The drive back to the compound takes 20 minutes. Vito stares out the window, says nothing. His driver knows better than to speak. Carmela meets him at the gate. One look at his face tells her everything. When? 1 hour ago? She crosses herself, whispers a prayer, takes his hand. The children do not know yet. I thought you should tell them. Tomorrow. Tonight is Connie's night. Genco would not want her wedding shadowed by his passing. They walk together toward the celebration. Music grows louder, guests laughing, dancing, unaware that the world has changed. Connie sees her father, runs to him, white dress flowing, face bright with joy. Papa, you came back. Dance with me. Vito takes his daughter's hand, forces a smile, lets her lead him to the dance floor. They waltz together, father and daughter, the Don and his princess. No one notices the weight behind Vito's eyes. No one sees the grief he carries with each step. No one understands that he is dancing while his heart breaks. This is the price of leadership, carrying burdens alone, showing strength when strength has been exhausted. The wedding continues until midnight, guests departing, congratulations exchanged, the bride and groom leaving for their honeymoon. Only when the last car disappears does Vito allow himself to sit. Tom Hagen finds him in the garden, alone, staring at the tomato plants. I heard about Genco. I am sorry. He asked me to save him. Vito's voice is hollow, distant. Asked if I could talk to death, make it stop. Tom says nothing. What is there to say? 30 years. We built everything together, and in the end I could do nothing, nothing but hold his hand. That was enough, being there. That was what he needed. Was it? Vito looks up, eyes haunted. Or did I fail him, like I have never failed anyone? You cannot fail against death, no one can. Vito considers this, knows it is true, but the knowing does not ease the pain. The funeral takes place 3 days later, largest funeral in Little Italy's history. Politicians attend, judges, police captains, businessmen, representatives from every family in New York. Genco Abbandando was respected, admired, beloved by many who never knew the true nature of his work. They see the olive oil importer, the successful businessman, the generous community leader. They do not see the consigliere, the architect, the man who built an empire from shadow and connection. That man belongs to Vito alone. That man will be remembered only by those who truly knew him. The casket is mahogany, imported from Italy, the finest money can buy. Not that money matters now. Vito speaks at the service, brief words, controlled words, the words of a Don honoring a fallen soldier. But everyone hears something else beneath the formal phrases. Everyone senses the depth of loss that Vito cannot express publicly. This was not just a consigliere, not just an advisor. This was a brother. After the burial, Vito stands alone at the grave, long after other mourners leave, long after the sun begins to set. He speaks quietly, words meant only for Genco. I will keep my promises. Your name stays on the company, forever. Your children will be protected, always. Your memory will be honored, every day. He places a single olive branch on the fresh earth, symbol of their partnership, symbol of everything they created. Rest now, my friend. Rest knowing that what we built will endure, that your work mattered, that your life mattered. He turns to leave, stops. One more thing. I will visit, every week, like I promised, until we meet again. The weeks pass, life continues, business continues. Tom Hagen assumes the role of consigliere, young, smart, capable, everything Genco trained him to be. But he is not Genco, can never be Genco. The office where Genco sat for 30 years now belongs to Tom. The relationships Genco cultivated now fall to Tom to maintain. The wisdom Genco provided now must come from different source. Tom handles it well, better than anyone expected. The transition appears smooth, but Vito feels the absence. In meetings where Genco's voice should speak, in decisions where Genco's counsel should guide, in moments where only Genco would understand. The empire runs efficiently, profits continue, power expands, Nevada operations begin planning, political connections strengthen. From the outside, nothing has changed. From the inside, everything has changed. Vito carries the grief privately, never speaks of it, never shows weakness. The Godfather remains strong, unshakable, invincible. But every week, without fail, he visits the cemetery. Every week he places fresh flowers on Genco's grave. Every week he sits on the bench beside the headstone and speaks quietly about family business, about the children, about the world they built together. One-sided conversations now, monologues where dialogues used to be. But Vito continues, because he promised, because Genco asked him to stay, and Vito Corleone keeps his promises, even when keeping them breaks his heart, even when the one who asked can no longer hear. The new reality settles over the Corleone family. Tom Hagen as consigliere, Genco Abbandando as memory, the empire continuing without its architect. Strength remains, power remains, respect remains. But something else is gone, something that cannot be replaced. Friendship. True friendship. The kind that starts on grocery store floors and survives 30 years of blood and business. The kind that asks only one thing at the end: stay with me. And Vito did. That was his final gift to Genco Abbandando. Presence, witness, love. The only things that mattered when everything else fell away. 10 years later, 1955, the cemetery on Long Island. Vito Corleone walks the familiar path. Same path every week for a decade, past marble angels, past granite crosses, past names and dates of strangers. To the grave he knows better than his own home. Genco Abbandando, 1893-1945, beloved friend. Vito ordered the headstone himself, chose every word, simple, honest, true, not businessman, not consigliere, not partner, friend, because that is what mattered, that is what lasts. He sits on the bench he donated 5 years ago, sets down fresh flowers, the same flowers every week, Genco's favourites, white roses. The grandchildren are growing, Vito says quietly, speaking to the stone, speaking to the memory, speaking to the friend who cannot answer. Santino's oldest starts school next month. You would love her. She has your stubbornness. The wind rustles through cemetery trees, late summer warmth, 10 years since that August night. Tom is doing well, better than I expected. You trained him properly. Vito pauses, smiles slightly, but he still asks what you would do. Before big decisions, he still hears your voice. This is true. Tom Hagen often pauses in meetings, eyes distant, channeling the mentor who shaped him. Genco's influence lives on, in Tom's careful negotiations, in his patient approach, in the connections he maintains with the same grace Genco showed. The legacy continues. The company bears your name still, always will. Vito looks at the headstone. Genco Pura olive oil, largest importer on the East Coast now, legitimate, respected, everything you wanted it to be. When people see trucks with Genco's name, they do not think of crime. They think of quality, of tradition, of Italian excellence. This is Genco's monument, not marble and stone, but a name that means something, a reputation that endures. I think about that hospital room often, Vito continues, voice lower now, more private. About what you asked me, whether I could save you. The question that has no answer, the question that haunts him still. I have made many men do many things, judges, politicians, enemies. I have moved mountains with a word, changed destinies with a phone call. Vito's hands fold in his lap. But I could not give you one more day, one more hour, one more breath. This is the lesson Genco taught him, the final lesson, more important than any business strategy or political maneuver. Power has limits. Every empire faces boundaries it cannot cross. Every don encounters doors that will not open. Every man, no matter how strong, meets forces he cannot defeat. Death is the great equalizer, the one negotiation that always fails, the one enemy that never surrenders. You taught me humility, Vito says. In your last hours, you taught me what really matters. Not money, not power, not respect, presence, connection, being there when it counts. Vito could not save Genco, but he could stay, could hold his hand, could witness his final moments, could ensure his friend did not die alone. That was enough. That was everything. I understand now why you were not afraid of the business we built, the danger, the enemies. Vito's voice grows thoughtful. You knew the truth I did not want to see. That death comes regardless, that we control nothing in the end, that all we can choose is how we spend the time we have. Genco spent his time building, creating, connecting, loving his family, supporting his friend. He died with no regrets, said so himself in that hospital room, happy, fulfilled, ready. That is the legacy worth remembering, not the empire, not the wealth, not the power, the peace of a life well lived. I try to live that way now, Vito admits. More time with the grandchildren, more dinners with Carmela, more conversations that have nothing to do with business. Because business will continue without him. The empire will survive his passing. Someone else will sit in his chair, make his decisions, carry his burdens. But no one else can be grandfather to his grandchildren, husband to his wife, friend to those who knew him before power changed everything. Genco understood this, lived this, died proving this. Stay with me, you said. Those were your last words, and I have. Vito gestures at the cemetery, at the decade of weekly visits, at the flowers and conversations and faithful presence. I stayed. I am still staying. I will stay until my own time comes. The sun moves across the sky. Afternoon shadows lengthen. Time passes, as it always does. Vito stands slowly, knees aching, age settling into bones. He is 63 now, closer to his own ending than his beginning. But not yet. Not today. He touches the headstone gently, cool marble under weathered fingers. What I learned from you, old friend. What I carry with me every day. Vito's voice drops to whisper. That being there is enough. That presence matters more than power. That staying when asked is the greatest gift we can give. He straightens, looks at the grave one final time. I will see you next week. Same time, same flowers, same conversation. He turns and walks away, down the familiar path, past marble angels and granite crosses, back to the car, back to the compound, back to the empire that demands his attention. But he will return, next week, and the week after, and every week until his own heart stops, because Genco asked him to stay. And Vito Corleone keeps his promises, the Godfather who built an empire through fear and respect and ruthless efficiency. The Don who made senators tremble and enemies disappear, the most powerful man in New York for 30 years, remembered by history for his power, but defined by something simpler, something truer, friendship, the kind that starts with stacking crates in a grocery store, the kind that survives decades of danger and success, the kind that sits in hospital rooms holding hands when nothing else can be done, the kind that asks only one thing at the end, stay with me. Genco Abbandando taught the Godfather his final lesson, not through business, not through strategy, through dying. That power means nothing against mortality, that empires crumble but love remains, that the greatest thing we can offer another person is simple presence in their darkest hour. Vito learned, Vito remembered, Vito carried that lesson for the rest of his life. And when his own time came, years later, in a garden surrounded by tomato plants and grandchildren, he was not afraid, because he knew what Genco knew. That death is not the enemy. Dying alone is the enemy. And Vito Corleone would not die alone. Because he understood, finally, what his best friend tried to tell him in that hospital room. Stay with me. The last words Genco Abbandando ever whispered. The most important words Vito Corleone ever heard.